Welcome to Can Angels Fly, Tarot, and more. My name is Nancy. I'll begin this live stream in just a short while. Right now I have to set up my live stream. Unfortunately, I cannot do this process prior to beginning my live for whatever reason. So, oh, dicky dacky. No matter. I was trying to be prepared and I still can't be. It's always something. Let's see. Their information here. Paste. Save that. In just a moment, I'll turn on the chat. They don't even have the chat on. They won't let the chat stay on for whatever reason. Now they don't even have a recording date. 22nd. Oh man, I didn't do that. Made me jump on my page. I did not do that. What is going on? It won't go back now. Incredible. Oh, it's about to play my... It's going to take just a little bit longer because it's acting nutty. Let's see if it kept what I put in there. No. Okay. Don't worry about it. At this time, I ask you to please like this video. Please share my channel with some others. And if you haven't already, subscribe. And once you subscribe, please locate the bell so you'll be notified whenever I upload a video and or go live. Let's see. I mean, this thing is wacky. It's wilding out on me, y'all. What is this thing doing here? Oh my God. Instead of adding, can I add that? Is it going to do it? What is it doing? Okay. I'm going to stay calm because it ends up messing up my... I'm going to go past that if I can. And I'll come back to that. Enable chat. Allow live chat replay. I do not want to allow embedding. Okay. I wonder, can I just click all of these? I wonder, does that add it? I don't know. I'll do that later. because I'm going to start getting anxious. Well, at this time, I'm going to attempt to find my way. I'm going to find my way back to you as soon as I can. Sound check. Soon as I can. Complete. Okay, complete. I hope this time around that I'll be able to interact with you. I keep forgetting and or losing my way. I would like to try. How you doing? Welcome here to Can Angels Fly? Tarot and more. My name is Nancy, and today I'm here to continue with my new series. This new series is called "Speak to Me, Spirit." Is that what it's called? No, it's Spirit Talk. It's called Spirit Talk to Me. I just came up with it earlier this week, and so I've been enjoying my research and studies, and so I thought I would share it with you, ladies and gentlemen. So once again, the name of this new series is called Spirit Talk to Me. Spirit Talk to Me. And what I'm doing in this particular series is I am reading the birth charts or interpreting the birth charts for prominent figures on our world stage today. Thus far, I've done Joe Biden, Donald Trump, Kamala Harris, Elon Musk, Christopher Miller, the Secretary of Defense. Who else have I done? Anthony Fauci. And today, Queen Elizabeth II. Which was an interesting read. Her birth chart was an interesting read. Again, actually, please like, share, and if you haven't already, subscribe. Is there anything else? Well, first things first. It was not easy to locate the Queen's birth information. I cannot validate the accuracy of the birth chart that I did get generated. All I can say is I did my research on her and found a birth chart calculator that I could enter all the details into, including the latitude, longitude. When I say this system was not playing in releasing her information, I mean that for the previous reads, or in order to access the previous natal charts or birth charts, I used one or the other system. Either I used www.astrotheme.com or I used the Vault of Heaven. Today, again, I had to do quite a bit of research on the Queen because the Vault of Heaven did not have her listed. And then when I went to, Astral Theme did not have her listed. I don't think I said that. And the Vault of Heaven wouldn't even identify her birthplace, which was in London. I think it was Mayfair, London. Wouldn't even identify it, wouldn't even allow me to select it, get nowhere near. So I was like, okay. So I had to go about things another way. I just did my research on her. What I needed to know was her birth date, her birth location, and the time, of course, is unknown. But I can still come up with a story, her soul story. Is there anything else? Let's see that I want to talk about. The Queen. This is not the first time I've talked about Queen Elizabeth II on my channel. I did so before in times past. I talked about the ushering in of the new guards. And I was talking in the video, I can't even remember the name of it, but I was talking about the future of humanity. This was about three or 4 years ago. And how it was about time for the millennials to take their position as guards. And I was talking in that video about how, it's about Queen Elizabeth's time is about up. And I talked about Henry and everybody, I also talked in that video about her I don't know what do you go, like mascots, and I know that would be a disrespectful term, or her spirit animals, which are some type of lions or leopards. Leopards, I found out today, actually. They're more like leopards. Uh, and I talked about them. I talked about how when she had her carnation, I think it's called, how she supposed to have walked down the courtyard, you know, pathway between her guardian animals, which are the lions or leopards. And I talked about the significance of those lions, and I compared them to my spiritual animals or beasts that dwell within me, which are double-headed dragons. And so when I went in and started interpreting her chart, it was really, really interesting. It was powerful. It was very overwhelming. And so without hesitation, I'm going to get started. You say she was born the same day as yourself, except you were in 94. Oh my God, me and her are both Leo moons too. I'm a Sagittarius rising at 27 degrees, but we almost have the same cap percent. Woo-wee. Well, I just wondered, listen to this. Listen to this. It's deep. It's so deep. Here I go. Okay. I'm going to try to read my notes, y'all. You know I stumble all over my words. So anyway, I had to go through quite a bit to get her chart. And I know this is her chart because of the information that came out of it. Okay. Let me see. I wrote these notes a little different. I really wrote notes. So we'll see. Okay. Beginning with the past life influences. In relationship to Queen Elizabeth II, who is the Queen of the United Kingdom and 15 other Commonwealth realms. Her actual name is Elizabeth Alexandria Mary. Beautiful name. Past life influence begins to dictate the current unfolding life experience she will have. And what is the past life influence? It is her matriarchal influence, or the matriarchal lineage into the world. I'll explain after I've read my notes. The lineage is the predominant aspect out of the whole of humanity. Let's see what else. Oh, I had rewrote. Okay. Hold on to what I just said. I'm just getting started. I had rewrote. Let me read. Excuse me. I'm doing my live. The identity of the aforementioned lineage. Oh, okay. So that was a part of it. Or its presentation to the world. Oh. So I really wrote these as notes. This is going to be a problem. The identity of the aforementioned lineage or its presence to the world. Authority, regal, royal, ruler. I know it's going to sound just like a lot of words because these are actually just notes, so they are just a lot of words. I will make it make sense after I read the notes as written. It says the inner emotional security of worldly assurance is determined by social contracts, whether business, professional, and or intimate, to present or personal. That is to say, the lineage must make good on their promise to another party's involvement in this exchange. I'll make it make sense. What am I saying? I'm saying the prominent past life experience that catapulted Elizabeth was her family lineage on her mother's side or the women's side. It is that bloodline that the women have carried on for generations that has put her in her seat of power. We know this. Her birth chart tells us this. And I should have wrote these better, because this was a really good one. Let me see. Let me try to make this make sense. Her birth chart talks about directly that her identity, how she presents herself to the world, and her family lineage as well, is that of an authority, of regalness, of royalty, and of the ruler. And this position that Elizabeth II holds, and her whole bloodline has held for generations, is the result of some unknown contract that exists. I had to say some unknown contract that exists. And I be trying not to spoil stuff ahead of time. So I'm trying to think of another way to say it. It's an unknown contract. And so there are terms and conditions that exist in this contract that I'm talking about. And one of the terms that exist on this contract that has to do with Queen Elizabeth and her family and their bloodline is that the Queen, she and her family have to make good on their obligations. If they do not make good on their obligations to whomever they're in this contract with, actually it has the power, the true power, then their identity of authority, regalness, royalty, and power will be immediately stripped away from them. I hope that made that make sense, because that's real important. It will be immediately stripped away from them if they ever default on their side of the contract. Okay? And remember, who they're in the contract with is much more powerful than themselves. Okay? And so I wrote here because the question emerged, who are the other parties? Or who are the other parties? Or parties that hold an interest in the works the crown does. That's to say, the influence that the Queen has over the world. Who holds an interest in that? That party right there is the predominant party, and it has laid down the stipulations of this bloodline contract, all in her birth chart. Okay, let me see. Goes on. Again, just sound like words, because this is just like words. My notes are literally words this time, not sentences. Obscured perception of acquired level of understanding, awareness, consciousness, beliefs, and philosophies, or predominant governing philosophies. So, let me try to explain what that note means. Whomever the Queen and her lineage is in this contract with has granted them, bestowed upon them certain treasures. One of the treasures that this unknown party bestowed upon the Queen in her lineage is the ability of, is the possession of perception and understanding and awareness and consciousness and beliefs, meaning they have this superior, or would why somebody put on so much cologne or something? The belief is absolute. And so with this other party is, I need a name for this other party. The unknown. The unknown. The unknown factor. The unknown party. That party. Why did they put so much cologne? I'm sorry, y'all. Not somebody like they done saturated the whole environment with some cologne or something, and it's like really heavy. Granted to the Queen and her lineage, like divine information. Divine information. And so it's like the queen and her lineage have been entrusted with this divine information. Here are my notes I have written here. That a bloodline covenant had been established between who? The queen, her lineage, and this unknown party. Let's see. Oh, yeah. And one of the stipulations attached to the queen receiving this divine knowledge is to make sure at all costs to keep it concealed. Keep it concealed. And if they who, the queen and her lineage at any given time, fail to uphold that stipulation of keeping this divine knowledge concealed, then they lose their prominence. They lose their identity. They lose, that is to say, they lose their authority, their regalness, their royalness, their rulership. Let's see. The lineage has, in support of its continued rulership, as long as stipulations are met, not only authority and rulership over humanity, over the future, over technology. What am I saying? I'm saying that ain't the only thing this unknown party bestowed upon him. It ain't just authority and rulership. It is authority and rulership over the whole of humanity, the future, and technology. As long as the stipulations are met. And one stipulation we know so far is to make sure that the divine information that has been revealed to that family, to the Queen Elizabeth and her lineage, is always concealed. This privilege, or these privileges, also include all that is countable. Check this out, y'all. All that is countable exists in the practical sense in this world, down to the minute article or unit, manifest into reality at any given time. What do that set of notes mean? It's saying, okay, we have this unknown party that has obviously invited the queen's lineage, bloodline, into a contract long before Elizabeth took the throne. And there were some stipulations put on the table. There were gifts bestowed and stipulations put on the table. A couple of the gifts thus far are to have authority, be royal, regal, and known for all of that. Be that. But they what? Have to protect this divine knowledge. Keep it concealed. And then another gift bestowed upon them, long as they follow the stipulations, abide by the stipulations, is that anything you can think of in this material world is theirs, down to the minute unit, the smallest unit of anything that manifests in this physical reality at any given time that they reign exists. Now, I've been trying to go back to see how long her family been sitting on the throne. And I got back to Alfred somebody. I got to go back to that. I had to take a break. But I'm going to go back to that because I'm trying to get back to the furthest person I can get back to, because I want to know who was that unknown party. Okay, I'm going to stop because I'm getting heated like I was earlier when I was doing this. Or yesterday. Okay. I read my notes. The immediate environment and influences shared by the group, like minds, familiar spirits. Okay, begins at the 29 degree of Pisces, and ends at Scorpio, Note, it spans the whole of the zodiac of Libra. Word, my notes are made of words, so I got to read it for real now, y'all. And remember, my notes go on. The world and all that it consists of is your oyster. So let's talk about this a little bit further. Remember, I was just saying this unknown party has bestowed many treasures and gifts upon the queen and her bloodline. And a couple of them are power and authority over what? The earth, the future, and humanity. More of these privileges or treasures are that anything that exists here in this physical world, that manifests in this physical world down to the minute unit, is theirs. The birth chart says that the world is their oyster. So I'm not just talking about Queen Elizabeth. I'm talking about her whole lineage. It's the whole bloodline that is a part of this contract. Okay. I ain't being funny. When I was interpreting this chart, I got a little nervous. I said maybe I shouldn't. I might be putting my life on the line. So I'm going to divert right here to tell you if I come up missing, because I'm paranoid now. If I come up missing, it ain't me. I didn't do it. I didn't intentionally come up missing. Somebody stole me. Somebody, got me. It ain't me. If you see me on TV, they say I committed a crime. I didn't do it. And notice they definitely making me going to have to make me shut up. If you don't see me talking and running my mouth telling my side of the story, and they ain't slamming the gavel down talking about I'm in contempt of court, that ain't me you seeing. So I continue with the notes as I got paranoid with this one. Okay. Where was it at? The world is their oyster. It says, and all partnerships are favorable. No opposition. Y'all. Now, I'm focusing on Queen Elizabeth II because she is a prominent figure at this point in time and has been for quite some time on our world stage. And I thought it would be fun to revisit her again. I did not know this is what I would find. But going on and talking about these privileges that and privileges and treasures and gifts that are bestowed before Queen Elizabeth and her whole lineage. It's a bloodline contract or bloodline covenant between them and some unknown power. It says that every partnership is favorable to you. There is no opposition. There will be no opposition. So let me define or clarify what I mean when I say partnerships. I'm talking, well, so we're dealing with the queen, we're dealing with a whole country, so we're going to do it on a big scale. Ain't gonna be no conflict or opposition from nations or from cults or cultures and anything. You could break it all down, break it all the way down to the individual. It ain't gonna be no opposition from Nancy or from nobody else. Don't worry about it. This is one of the blessings and gifts bestowed upon you in your bloodline, queen. No problem. Hold on. It says, but, check this out, y'all. Lean in. This is crazy stuff. It say, but if there is ever opposition, your tribe has been bestowed mean being gifted, okay, another gift, another privilege to their bloodline, to her bloodline, and to herself, is the full comprehension or consciousness of Mars, which is war, terror, to the point of annihilation. Let me try to clarify what I was writing here in my notes. I talk about this quite frequently, about the consciousness, about being aware and a conscious. When I talk about awareness and consciousness, I talk about it in relationship to what people call it now, receiving downloads or channeling. It is when the consciousness, the information come in. It's not like all of these words I have written here in my notes. Not exactly. It's more like an energetic stream. It looks, and the spirit look like light coming on you. And if it say like Mars, if the energy or the consciousness of Mars come on me and bask me in it, bathe me in it, every energy associated with Mars is, so you can imagine every word: aggression, murder, death, kill, annihilate, burn, torch. Anything that will allow an entity to annihilate something is known to them. It's bestowed upon them. I hope I can make that make sense. I'm hoping that I'm making that make sense to you. What am I saying? I'm saying whoever this unknown entity is that the queen and her lineage is in this contract with has given over to them, if just in case there's any opposition of any type in this world against them, the full consciousness of Mars. Meaning, in one way or another, they will annihilate the opposition on whatever level. Don't matter. I'm talking about any. I don't even. I have no comprehension, and I just covered this in last year when I did the videos called knowing, and I talk about the spirits that dwell within and the consciousness that comes with them, or exposure to downloads and things like that. Yeah, could you imagine knowing every absolute, I say absolute because I'm talking about all that was, that is, that will ever be, that ain't never been thought of, created, or imagined, being aware of every tactic to annihilate the opposition. That's some deep stuff. That's scary. So anywho, who is this talking? Who is this talking to Queen Elizabeth's ancestor? Who is this talking to Queen Elizabeth's ancestor? Let me say this. When I was interpreting her birth chart, this birth chart sounds like there is a god literally sitting face to face with Queen Elizabeth's ancestor, probably a woman because it said it came from a matriarchal part of her lineage, you know. But then the woman had a baby too, so I don't know. But it might be, it seemed like sitting with a woman, or I ain't gonna say that. I am gonna leave that alone because I ain't what I got. But they was in a negotiation with them. Not even a negotiation. They just seemed like it just bestowed them stuff and said, "Hey, y'all gonna have favor. This is your whole bloodline. Only thing stipulation you gotta do is keep the divine knowledge secret. And you gonna have power and authority, regalness, riches. The world is your oyster. What else is it? And down to the most minute thing or unit. Anything that manifests in reality is yours. You have rulership and authority over humanity, the future, technology, and every social interaction or partnership you have is going to be favorable to you. But if ever there's a moment where you face opposition, I'm giving you all the consciousness of annihilation. Of annihilation. Not just Mars, just of annihilation. Just to be able to get rid of it. That's some deep stuff. So something was sitting up there speaking to that ancestor just like that. It was granting it to them. And in Queen Elizabeth's birth chart, it's like reciting it to it. It's like restating the declaration to her as the new person taking the throne. You know what I'm saying? So I could just imagine that a similar script like this was for everybody in the past, time of their family timeline that sat on that throne. This exists in their birth chart, you know, to some degree, saying this is what the contract your family has with me, whatever unknown entity this is. That's what I'm trying to get y'all to see. It's an unknown entity sitting up literally directly talking to them. Okay. And obviously is more powerful than themselves, than Queen Elizabeth and her lineage, because it's actually granting and bestowing these things to them, establishing them in this world, in these seats of prominence in this world, and saying, I will take it from you if you don't abide by the stipulations. So that means it's more of a more powerful being or entity, whatever it is. Hello, she is our queen here in Canada too. You said 15 other Commonwealth rams, so I assume that's you are in a Commonwealth ram. Yes, our Governor General has been appointed by her, who is who has been a woman for quite a few years, but the last one just resigned, and now she has to appoint another one. I could imagine. Let me finish sharing, y'all, because this was some deep stuff. This was the deepest one I read. Actually, let me stop. Before I go further, I want to say this. Talking about the previous readings I've done, Donald Trump's was quite interesting to me. Joe Biden's was really interesting to me. The ones that, and that's because they were like incarnates, it seemed, of historical figures, either from the Bible or some culture. It was somebody that God, manifest. Like Kamala Harris is I said, the 12th or the 13th incarnation of Shiva. Okay, so that's really powerful. But then there were other people that I've read for. I think it was Fauci. I haven't. Elon Musk was some type of deity or something. It was Fauci and this United States Secretary of Defense Christopher C. Miller, who's also human. Um, I find there's the human ones are more, seem like more tragic, like stories of a human being coming in this world, and you don't know what you like. Forrest Gump said, or Forrest Gump mother said, life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get. And so these people did not know what they were gonna get, and life, kind of messed over them, and they weren't able to make a comeback to stay righteous. And so it seemed like they gave themselves over to the dark side. But it did not say that for, what's that man named, Bill Gates. It didn't suggest that for Bill Gates. It suggests that Bill Gates is righteous. And in all my studies thus far, in doing this here, these birth chart readings, I kind of I'm kind of conflicted, because I've heard, like many of you, these people's indiscretions and their reputation being scarred, and now it has me wondering, who is making all that noise? It has me wondering, are these people's reputation being scarred, or are they truly heinous people? Because but then life is a challenge, and uh, we rise and fall. Who was that? I don't want to holler, y'all, but I didn't invite anybody over here. See, I be beefing. I be beefing with my kids, cause they got older now. They 21, and folks be pulling up at my house. I don't play that. Who is that outside with all that noise and I'm live? Can you look up? Can you look out the window and see if that's Pearl and them? Well, somebody's right outside my house. Could you go ask them? Because I'm still live. I'm on the phone. I don't want to start hollering and screaming, because I know it do a lot of feedback and it got quiet. But I do hear Scrappy barking, and I know that I asked y'all when I'm okay. Well, can y'all calm them down, please? Thank you. You so kind. I'm sorry, y'all. That drive me crazy. That drive me. I guess that's why I be up so late. I be up to 4, 5, 6 o'clock in the morning. I guess to have quiet time. And when I try to come on here at a reasonable hour, everybody be amped up, and it's Friday. Okay. So what was I talking about? Oh, and so I was talking about the poor little humans, us, and our little stories being told, and the stories that I've done thus far, just it seemed like it's just saying, again, we go through these life experiences, and sometimes we're improperly influenced. Other times we're able to, stay righteous, just weather the storms, and we are able to stay righteous and move through life and have our life experiences and serve our purpose here in this world. But then it's these other things, like it's God's literally that I'm picking up on in these readings. But none of them, not one other, has been this advanced as this one associated with the queen and her lineage. This is literally a God sitting here talking. In Donald Trump's, it talked about, I don't know how do I describe Donald Trump's. It talked about his purpose. He came here with an exact purpose, and he is an incarnation of someone historically from the past. But it's not, that person is not a god. An influential person in trying to set dynamics up in a way that humanity could get back on a road to righteousness. But we know, at least we have our viewpoint of Donald Trump from a worldly perspective, but we aren't programmed or trained to perceive a person doing works from a spiritual level. And what am I saying? I'm saying I know everything we saw Donald Trump do was crazy, but if hypothetically, case scenario, Donald Trump was here to release man from capitalism and everything, make it just blow up, because the God, the Supreme, don't care about none of this. So it was just like, go down there, Donald Trump, blow it all up, reset this mother sucker, however you got to do it, because Donald Trump's was not bad. Kamala Harris's and Joe Biden's was, but ironically, Donald Trump's wasn't. And yeah, everybody was tripping. I was tripping too. You say the eve of total annihilation. The eve of total annihilation. Annihilation. Please, I don't want no annihilation. It say, hey, back, I couldn't get through Gates. His name carries such low vibration. But this exploration of yours is genius. Well, thank you. Thank you. I don't know why I was led to this. I never thought about it, but now I'm smitten. I guess you can say I'm smitten. And it's when I find it out. And like this one, I'm going to go back to the Queen because hers was off the chain. It was off the chain. Okay, so I'm going to go back. Let me see. Where was I at? How many pages I got left? Hers was off the chain. Okay, I got about 4 or 5 pages left. It wasn't playing no games. So it's this God or something talking. So they've been bestowed, her and her lineage have, as long as they abide by the stipulations, authority over, I just talk about humanity, future, technology. These privileges also include the world is their oyster. And they talk about the immediate environment and influence shared by the group, like minds, familiar. Oh, okay. The world is the oyster. All partnerships are favorable with no opposition. But if ever there's opposition, you are also the family, not me. Queen Elizabeth and her lineage are bestowed the all absolute conscious of Mars, or the eve of total, the ability to at any moment commence with the eve of total annihilation. That's what they got. Thank you. Thank you, Leahs. Any of your Leahs. Okay. So, let's see. War, terror to annihilate. That means your tribe, including yourself, talking about Queen Elizabeth and her tribe, know all the absolute knowledge about what it means. What means will result in guaranteed extermination of any resistance. I'm going to read that again, or try to. It says that that means that Elizabeth and her tribe, Queen Elizabeth and her tribe, know all the absolute knowledge about what means will result in guaranteed extermination of any resistance. So I asked this question at this point in time. This is when I asked the question, who has the authority to bestow this type of power or grant these type of worldly treasures to a person? Who? And they sitting up in Queen Elizabeth birth chart talking, telling her directly to her soul. Boom. And not only her, that whoever came before and sat on the throne, sat face to face with them and told them, boom. Who is this? Who is this family? And who is this other unknown party? I want to know. who are they? Because they execute. Now that unknown party executing all authority. I mean, all absolute authority. As if they are the absolute God. So anyway. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm stop. I'm gonna come back. I have to say this. So I've been continuing trying to research to find out, you know, who's the earliest member of Elizabeth bloodline. I would like to try to see if I could get a birth chart for them. I think I could create one by using the ephemeris because it goes way back to 800 something. September 800. And I think I can. I'm going to try. And the reason I want to is because, number one, I want to know who that person talked to, what their birth chart says about their soul or who they talked to. But also when I was reading on the person that I found and her family member that began this reign, I think I found his name was Alfred or something, began this reign, even though it say her matriarchal line, I won't know until I read the birth chart. So let's say Alfred. I can't remember his name. Alfred. So Alfred, when I was reading on Alfred at Wikipedia, it said that Alfred, I have to go read it again, but it started going into Vikings and the Danes and Vikings and Danes and stuff I don't really know about. Little stuff from when I was in art history, but not enough. And I bring that up when it started talking about the Viking. Now I'm really stretching here. This is hypothetical. This is just my thought. This is me connecting different researchers from different time periods and different subject matters. But when it started talking about these Vikings and then the Danes, and it mentioned something else in Wikipedia, it took me to this research I was doing where I ended up making a video called, "Oh God, forgive us, for we knew not." And that's where I start exploring the possibility that we are being ruled by, and this is where we hear the propaganda at. It's popular. I'm seeing where the propaganda is coming from. That's another thing I wanted to point out. That we are being ruled by and even eaten by reptilians. That's when I first seen anything about Vikings or them Danes. It was when I did that research back then. That was about a year and 6 months ago or something like that. But no, about a year ago. And it started going there. And I told you I just dropped the mic and left it alone because it was going off world. So before I go back to these notes, another thing I want to say or spotlight is that our popular culture has a lot of propaganda, a lot of trends. And the research that I've been doing is bringing up or exposing some of these trends. Like I was saying a minute ago, the whole thing about there being aliens and our world possibly ruled by reptilians. Many people have even put videos out and images of other different people, prominent people being reptilians, and the Queen is one of those people. So that's what I'm saying. So right now, while I'm reading her birth chart, there is evidence. So I'm seeing where people getting these crazy concepts from. There is somewhat of a line that exists that indirect, although indirect, seems to be pointing back to some type of reptilian rulership or draconian rulership of some type. It does. So what am I trying to say? Let me stop. When I did, who was his name? Bill Gates. Not Bill Gates. Elon Musk. When I did Elon Musk, I talked about how I think that Elon Musk may be a reincarnation of Hermes. When I was studying Hermes, because I really don't know much about Hermes, I've heard of the Hermetic laws and mentalism and all that kind of stuff. But again, it's trending. It's, you know, it's propaganda, pop culture. Don't know where these things come from. You know, so when I did Elon Musk, after my research of reading his birth chart, I said, hey, that is mentalism. Hey, well, and when I read and compare the notes, hey, that's Hermes reincarnate. Once I started reading Hermes, well, then I started seeing words like example. I'm not sure if this was one. I think it was namaste. You know what I'm saying? I'm not sure exactly if that was a word, but a word like, I want to say it was namaste, but it was something else too. It was a couple of them. Namaste has become popular. It's trending. It's popping. It's pop culture. Why are we saying namaste? Well, based on my research, that came from Hermes. So it almost seems like these gods do exist, and they are egotistical and narcissistic, and they want to be just like in that series from last year, American Gods. They want to be acknowledged and appreciated, and so they push. Every time they push their mottos out here, like example, namaste. And so every time somebody says namaste, we are honoring the God. That's the way it is appearing to be as I move forward with this research, and it's incredible. This is absolutely incredible. Okay, I know y'all came here to hear me talk about the Queen, but I just been, picking up on so much to I'm trying to share it all. Okay, now continue with the Queen. So my last question that was posed is like, who has the authority to bestow these types of powers and grant these types of worldly treasures to anybody? Period. Who are they? Who is this being talking in Elizabeth the Second's birth chart? It says the emotional state, status, and stability as a direct result of being a member of this specific bloodline. So what am I talking about? About to talk about right here. I'm about to really just focus on Queen Elizabeth II and her inner emotional state as a direct result of being a part of that bloodline. And receiving those privileges and benefits, and also being under that oath or ban to conceal that divine information. How does she feel? And it says the state of the soul, the depth of the psyche, the types of emotional responses one will execute. And it goes on to just read my notes. Remember, it's a bunch of words, really just words this time that I got to read and remember what it meant. It says, will execute all authority and power that has been ordained by the absolute power. No limit soldier. What is a hip hop term? No limit soldier. So what it's saying, Queen Elizabeth, the inner emotional state and how she feels. She feels what's it called? She feels supported by this unknown party or entity. She feels confident, and so her in her birth chart it says she will execute the full range of power and authority into the world. Remember, this entity or this unknown party says, hey, I have given you the consciousness of Mars, of full annihilation. So Queen Elizabeth is willing to unleash that if necessary. That's how confident and secure she feels in her role and position of being in that bloodline and sitting in her seat of authority at this time. And as it say, I got written here that she will execute the full extent of the authority granted to her by that absolute power or that unknown party. I go on reading my notes made of words and having to remember what it means. It says personal expression, will, power, creative ability, ability to make desired vision real, execute authority, show of power. We know what show of power is. It says it is her way, or the highway, is her way or off with your head. And I was thinking of the Queen of Hearts in the movie Alice in Wonderland right here with this sector of my notes. And so I'll try to clarify that. Remember, this unknown power has given Queen Elizabeth and her lineage the absolute viewpoint or philosophical belief. So they are possessed this secret knowledge, this divine knowledge. And because she knows that they are dealing with the absolute of something, you know, that unknown party, she knows that she knows the truth on every level about everything. She knows. And because she knows that she has the absolute truth, the only philosophy that uh, is relevant in this existence, you know, she is willing, once again, her birth chart say, she will execute all power and authority to the extent of annihilating any opposition or anything that goes against her moving forth in this world based on those beliefs that were bestowed upon her and her lineage by that unknown party. Anything. That's why I was saying immediately I thought about Alice in Wonderland with the Queen of Hearts and how she say, off with their head. Meaning, I already know the truth. Ain't nothing else you can say to me, period. We gonna do it my way or the highway. Or you, you know, so let's see. Elizabeth Alexander Mary will execute her full power, show of power, on any and all objections to her decrees, instructions, judgment, statutes, proclamations, declarations, commands, etc. Okay. Let's see. Professional duties and responsibilities of whom? The Queen Elizabeth II. The purpose of existence, realized and operational, sustaining dominant views, beliefs, etc. through her life's works that fashion the sociology and the constructs of the world at large. What am I saying, trying to say in those particular wordy notes? Is that playing this position, the position that the Queen Elizabeth plays, literally sitting on the throne and being the, I think it's called a monarch or something like that. She has responsibilities and duties. And I'm not talking about the stipulations or obligations. She is taking an oath to uphold to that unknown party. I'm talking about she actually has work to do or responsibilities and duties because she's in that seat of power. And one thing that she has that many of us don't have, she immediately came in here knowing her purpose. We know that. Her birth chart showed that. She already knew her purpose. And even her reason for existing, being born in this world at the time she was born. And not only that, but how everything is already operational. When I say operational, I mean, how can I say this? It's something in life, many times we spend most of our lives trying to build up, figure out first what we're going to do, then we try to build our platform and get it up and running. All of that was already preordained to be in order and functioning, you know, in a timely manner as she progressed. Actually, it was handed down generation after generation. But you get what I'm saying? It was already operational. And so her point was to keep it going, sustaining it, based on understanding those governing beliefs, viewpoints, ideologies that were granted to her and her bloodline from that unknown party. That do what? Ultimately, all of that work and all of that purpose and all of that, all of those beliefs do what? They govern society. They govern society overall, as well as the various constructs of this world overall. So that's the mission. It says partnership contracts. The various I'm reading these wordy notes. Partnership contracts. The various social contracts like cultures, cults, nations, etc. Because we're working with a big dog over here, so I don't just talk about me and you in relationship to her, but we are also in a partnership, probably indirectly, with Queen Elizabeth. But she's definitely in some business partnerships or professional partnerships with you know, nations and different things like that, natures, cults, cultures, etc., etc. Anywho, establish the core rules and beliefs, etc., etc., to be executed and unchallenged. So, what does these notes say that I just read? It's saying that Queen Elizabeth, while she's in reign, remember we're still talking about her duties. So she has these duties to what? You know, be within her purpose, to what was it, be in her purpose and make sure everything stays operational, sustain it. She's supposed to form or cultivate a society, meaning the people and how we interact, as well as, oh yeah, it got really good, as well as to help determine, or basically determine, the social constructs of this world at large. Not only that, like the business contracts she have, professional contracts, or so interactions she have with others, like cultures and nations and even us, indirectly, is for her primary purpose in that engagement or exchange with another party, whether it's me, you, or another, or a nation, or a cult, whatever, is to, you know, establish the rules, the core rules, the beliefs and the practices, and make sure they're executed and unchallenged. So what am I saying? Well, we know in this world, how many continents are there? 7 continents or something. How many nations are there? I forgot, 150 something nations, 100, whatever nations. So she tell everybody what to do. She tells everybody what to do and how to do it and when to do it, and make sure it's executed, and it better be done unchallenged. Is what the birth chart saying. Her birth chart saying. Okay, going on. Ooh, this one. Okay, y'all, get ready, lean in, get your ear nice and warm, and get it ready. Other people's, nations, cultures, etc. response to the forced or imposed dictation on every level, you know, from the Queen and her lineage, that determines how life unfolds and basically looks. Well, we have Venus here. There is balance and harmony and peace achieved if Virgo. It depends on the details, or ability for a sector or a cult or culture or a nation or indirectly one of us to comply determines if there will be peace or war. Okay. Whew. It says, my notes say, unanticipated moments that are shocking, signal system checks, and opportunity to revise any errors or miscalculations. The various social constructs, nations, cultures, etc. What does that mean? I'm saying, hey, the Queen is over what? Dictating every aspect of the world, because she has been given the ultimate beliefs, and power and authority has been granted to her by some unknown entities in her birth chart. And so her whole career is about managing the overall world, where every aspect of it. And she's able to manage the overall world, whether it's social, as far as sociology, how people interact and exchanges, and or the social constructs that you know, we interact in or with. She's able to manage and dictate all of that. Why? Because remember, the absolute truth, the absolute philosophy, almost like the word of God, was given to her bloodline. And that's what she's executing upon the world, been ordained to execute upon the world based on her birth chart. And so it's saying, hey, these other people like myself, or another nation, whether America, Africa, or China, how do they feel about, knowing so they being told what to do by this single woman or this one bloodline? It says, hey, well, what ends up happening, it determines if they do it or not. If you do it, peace. But if you don't, then it's war. And so it's saying here that it is a forewarning in their birth chart. This is what it's saying. A forewarning basically is offered. The forewarning is of a threat or imminent danger. And the threat or imminent danger is from whom? It's from Queen Elizabeth II and her lineage. And remember, early in the birth chart it says, hey, I have granted you and your family favor in all partnerships. But if ever one partnership, whether business, professional, personal, try to pose opposition to you, I've also granted you and your bloodline the full absolute consciousness of Mars, of war, of annihilation. So the point here is this birth chart. Her birth chart says this is going to be this period. If ever somebody rises up against you, if ever somebody don't follow the rules that you have laid before them, that I told you is the truth, and they don't follow them, you have to give them a warning. You, Elizabeth, and your bloodline, if it ever happens while you're reigning, you have to give them a warning. Let them know that they are in intimate danger. What? Because they are what? Going to release on Mars. This was the crazy. I know it sounds crazy, y'all. Now, y'all know I can't make this up. I was merely a BC student. I cannot make this stuff up. This is some deep stuff. I'm almost done, y'all. I'm almost done. It's just this last little bit. The universal beliefs and practices, the leader's avatar, sense of worldly security. The Queen's declarations determine the masses, I'm talking about the world's population, quality of life, the flow of commerce, natural resources, etc., etc. What am I saying? I'm saying it seems that the Queen of the United Kingdom and 15 other Commonwealth realms rules more than what they let off. It seems like some absolute power, some unknown power, some unknown party entered a contract with her family a long time ago. And there were only a few stipulations they had to follow. And everything else was granted to them as favor from doing what? Managing the whole world. If the Queen, based on her birth chart, if I was reading right, if the Queen at any time deemed that we don't need to live the quality of life that we've grown accustomed to, then she will command the various nations and leaders to make the adjustments necessary for us all to fall into like a state of poverty if she so desires. If it's what? Rooted or founded in those beliefs or philosophies that unknown entity gave to her and her family line. To what? Keep secret. So our wealth, our sense of physical, worldly security and stability, if we eat or not, if we have enough money or not, is dependent on what she says or whoever sits in that seat. Last but not least, this was a deep one. It says mid-heaven, public standing, authority, avatar, known for establishing the dimensions of the world's population, sense of physical, worldly security and stability, and the quality of life. That's how it ends. Going and saying really 100%, she is over everybody in the whole wide world. And it's so interesting to me that, the stories I've heard, the history stories I've heard about her family, the whole lineage, just their whole history. It makes me wonder how they colonized and different things like that. Why there was never no successful pushback. Why could nobody crush them? Well, I did get an answer out of that birth chart. Because something gave them the full consciousness of annihilation. That's some deep stuff. So it also leads me to think, I don't know, because I'm not a history buff. I was our historian, but not in this context. That I know I've always had this question, like, how did, like, you know, I grew up during a generation where we were told about the Indians and the Pilgrims. So how did the Pilgrims get the guns and the Indians didn't have them? The example of them Pilgrims having them guns represent having that full consciousness of Mars and of annihilation. That was technology. Remember, she's over technology too. Uh, that was technology that far exceeded the majority of the populace consciousness. I don't know if I made that make sense or not, y'all. Y'all let me know how y'all felt about that one, because that right there was real, real deep. So at this time, I'm going to move to end this live stream. I ask you again to please like this video, to share my channel with others. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please subscribe to my channel. Until next time, y'all. Bye.